Welcome back to Sip and Talk, everyone.
Hey there. Good to be back.
So today we're getting into something really interesting. How to design a creative life. And we're drawing a lot from the amazing Debbie Millman, especially her TED Talk insights.
Oh, yeah. Debbie Millman. She's incredible. A designer, author. Her new book is Love Letter to a Garden, right? Educator, and of course, the voice behind the Design Matters podcast.
For like 2 decades.
Exactly. Interviewing just countless creative people. She really helps you understand, creativity, who you are, what your purpose might be. It's fascinating stuff.
Totally. And one of the first things that jumps out is how she approaches interviewing itself. It's not just talking. She calls it a designed interaction. What's that actually look like?
Well, it means it's deliberate. She puts a ton of thought into it. Deep research is key. Asking questions that maybe catch people off guard a little.
In a good way.
Yeah, in a good way. And using humor to build that connection. She even taught a workshop on it once. Said the first question should, show you did your homework, be surprising, and make the person laugh.
Huh. No pressure then.
Right. And apparently the guy who interviewed her for the TED podcast actually used that on her. He asked if his opening question met her criteria.
That's brilliant. It shows that idea of design goes way beyond just logos and visuals for her.
Oh, absolutely. For Debbie Millman, everything is design. How you talk to someone, how you structure a conversation, even how you shape your life.
Your whole life is a design project.
Kind of. And she found this common thread almost by accident, she said, through all her different work, branding, writing, podcasting. It all came back to this search for identity.
Identity, for a product or?
Yeah, for a product, sure, but also for people. Digging into someone's origin story in an interview. It's all about getting to the core of, what something is.
Okay, that makes sense. And speaking of identity, that leads right into her view on personal branding, doesn't it? She's not a fan.
Not a fan is putting it mildly. She calls it reprehensible.
Wow. Reprehensible. Why such a strong word? I mean, everyone talks about personal branding these days.
Well, her reasoning is pretty compelling, I think.
Right.
Brands, she argues, are manufactured. They don't have a soul, right? They're built by us. Humans, though, we're messy, we change, we grow.
We're not static like a logo.
Exactly. So if you start thinking of yourself as a brand, you're kind of turning yourself into a product, commodifying your own humanity maybe, losing that messy, evolving part in favor of some polished image.
That definitely gives you something to think about, trying to always present this perfect brand me online or whatever. So if not branding, what does she suggest?
Right. She offers an alternative. Focus on building your character, your reputation, and your body of work.
Okay, let's unpack those. Character first. What does that mean in her view?
Character, for her, is about your inner compass. It's like being transparent, telling the truth, actually showing up, doing what you say you'll do. It comes from inside, not because you're trying to get something. It's about integrity.
So it's who you are when no one's watching kind of thing.
Yeah, precisely. And reputation flows from that.
Right. Reputation isn't something you just create with a marketing plan. It's what people think of you based on that character over time.
Exactly. You earn it by living your beliefs consistently. Even when it's tough or unpopular, it happens organically. You can't just, position yourself for it. It grows.
Like planting a seed. It takes time and consistency.
Spot on. And that ties into the third piece, the body of work.
Ah, yes, the actual stuff you create. This is where a lot of people get stuck, right?
Yeah.
Waiting for perfection. I know I do that sometimes. I can't start until...
Totally. We all do. But Millman pushes back hard against that. Confidence, she says, doesn't come before you act. It comes from acting.
So you build confidence by doing.
Yeah. By trying things, putting them out there, learning, doing it again. It's iterative. It's not about waiting to feel ready or making one perfect thing. It's the process of making again and again.
Yeah.
That's how you get better and how you start to trust yourself.
Get out of your head and just start. I like that. It reminds me of her gardening story, actually.
Oh, the gardening. Yes, that's such a great metaphor.
She talks about struggling for, decades? From her 20s to her 50s, trying to make a garden grow.
Yeah, and she admits she had no idea what she was doing. Just sticking plants anywhere, hoping for the best. Roses in the shade, that kind of thing.
Been there.
Right. But then, during COVID, she moves to L.A. with her wife, Roxane Gay, and the well's consistent. She has the time. And suddenly, things start growing. Vegetables, flowers, a lemon tree even.
And this whole experience became her book, Love Letter to a Garden.
Yep. And she draws these amazing life lessons from it.
Like what did the garden teach her?
Well, obviously patience. Things take time to grow. You can't rush it. And pruning.
Yeah.
Cutting back the stuff that's not working or taking too much energy so the healthier parts can thrive. That applies to life too, right? Let go of things that don't serve you.
Oh, for sure. Cutting back commitments or even negative thoughts.
Exactly. Also, avoiding extremes. Balance. Not too much sun, not too much shade. Finding that sweet spot.
Moderation in all things.
Kind of. And accepting the impossibility of perfection. Gardens are messy. Things die. Pests show up. It's never going to be perfect, and that's okay.
Learning to live with imperfection. That's a big one.
Huge. And finally, rebirth. Seeing plants come back after winter or grow from just a tiny seed. It's that cycle of resilience, renewal, hope.
That idea of resilience, it really connects to another powerful part of her story, doesn't it? Her work dealing with past trauma.
It really does. She's been incredibly open about healing from past abuse and channeled that into work with the Joyful Heart Foundation, that's Mariska Hargitay's organization, and the No More campaign against sexual violence.
Using her design and branding skills for something so deeply important, eradicating sexual violence, tackling the rape kit backlog, that's turning pain into purpose in a really profound way.
Absolutely. But she's very careful about how she frames it. She pushes back against the whole silver lining idea.
Yeah.
She says, look, some things are just terrible, period. There's no upside.
Right. It's not about saying the bad thing was good because it led here.
Exactly. It's more like terrible things can happen, and you can still find beauty and purpose afterwards. The purpose comes despite the pain, not because of it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's a really important distinction. It honors the pain without needing to justify it. She's grateful for who she is now, but not necessarily for the experiences that shaped her.
Precisely. It's about finding meaning in the aftermath, which kind of ties into another myth she tackles, the tortured artist.
The idea that you have to be miserable to create great work.
Right. And she acknowledges, one of her own powerful pieces, Self-Portrait as Your Traitor, came from a really dark place years ago.
Okay, so sometimes pain can fuel creation?
Sometimes, maybe. But she mostly argues that sustained creativity, the kind you build a life around, often comes from a place of, healing, and maybe even relaxation. Consistent effort, not constant angst.
Like Elizabeth Gilbert's idea of the muse visiting you when you show up.
Kind of, yeah. Less wrestling, more openness. Debbie talks about finding a flow state, that feeling of effortlessness. But it only comes after a lot of hard work and struggle.
Like runner's high, maybe? You got to put in the miles first.
Good analogy. You earn it through effort. It's not the starting point.
So consistent work over dramatic suffering.
Got it. And she also distinguishes between different kinds of art, right? Lowercase a art and capital A art.
This is fascinating. Lowercase art for her is like her daily work illustration design. It's craft, skill, communication, important stuff.
But capital A art, that's something else entirely.
Yeah, that's a really high bar for her. It's about profound originality, a unique quest or vision, seeing the world in a way no one else has. It needs this deep conceptual underpinning and massive commitment, like creating a whole new visual language. Wow. So who makes the cut for capital A art in her book?
She's mentioned John Batiste as an example. Someone with that kind of, genius and singular vision.
Okay, so it's a rare thing.
Very. And that high standard connects to who she admires most. It's not necessarily the people resting on their laurels,
It's the ones still pushing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
People, even in their 80s or 90s, who are always striving for something more. Still making things, still digging deeper, still raising their own bar.
That constant striving, that desire to keep growing, that seems to be the core of designing a creative life for her.
I think so. It comes back to that garden, right? Visible growth, constant change, always reaching for the light.
It's never really done. So for you listening, maybe the takeaway is, how can you bring more of that iterative, growth-focused mindset into your own life?
Yeah, seeing everything you do, every project, every attempt, not as the final word, but just as one more step in designing this ongoing, evolving creative life. One layer at a time. Well, thank you for joining us for this Sip and Talk. Hope it gave you some food for thought on designing your own path.
Yeah, definitely. And hey, subscribe to Sip and Talk wherever you get your podcasts so you don't miss the next one.
Quick shout out to our old buddy Mickey's YouTube channel, Mickytolife. Go check it out. He's got funny memes, music, wine tasting, travel vlogs. It's a good time.
It is. But maybe tell Mickey to go easy on the wine, okay? That stomachache is definitely related. Design a healthy life too, Mickey.
Good advice. All right, everyone. We'll catch you next time on Sip and Talk.